The colossal chamber of the Galactic Union Assembly resembled more of a gladiatorial arena than a formal meeting space. Captain Jameson Cruz stood at the center, his boots firmly planted on the smooth, darkened stone floor. Surrounding him, a sea of alien delegates looked down, their expressions varying from mild curiosity to overt contempt. The air was alive with an electric charge, and unspoken tension thick in the room. Jameson shifted his weight, his left shoulder aching slightly beneath the weight of the mechanical arm now attached to it. The prosthetic limb was crude by the Union standards, a simple assembly of reinforced metal and hydraulic systems, a stark contrast to the advanced technology seen in the assembly. Around him were beings adorned with gleaming cybernetic enhancements, luminous skin, and subtle neural interfaces. A sharp voice broke through the heavy air. It belonged to Counselor Thryan, a tall, slender arachnid-like creature with shimmering exoskeletons and feathers that fluttered with every word. Your presence here is an anomaly, not a precedent. Humanity has yet to prove itself on the vast stage of intergalactic warfare, yet you insist on participating in this battle. Thryan's voice cut through the room, precise and calculating. Jameson stood tall and met the eyes of the many delegates, unwavering. We may not have your advanced tech, he said with quiet defiance, but Earth knows how to fight, and we've paid the price. We've got scars to show for it. A wave of laughter rippled through the hall. A hulking, scaled alien, a native of the Vroth species, leaned forward, his voice a low growl. Scars are the mark of failure. A warrior who bleeds too much doesn't live to fight again. The laughter that followed grated on Jameson's nerves, but his expression remained stoic. Counselor Thryan raised a clawed hand, demanding silence. Resilience is a fine trait, but words are fragile, Captain. The Union faces extinction from the Zuroks, a relentless, adaptable, and technologically superior race. Tell us, human, what can you offer in the face of such a threat? Jameson's gaze swept the room, meeting the eyes of the delegates, their alien counterparts. He knew the odds were against him, but he had been in worse situations before, trapped in the mud of a battlefield, with enemy fire crashing down. He lifted his chin and spoke. I offer what my soldiers have offered time and time again in the face of impossible odds: grit, ingenuity, and the resolve to win, no matter the cost. A sneering snort came from a smaller insectoid creature. Noble words, but futile in practice. Let me show you, Jameson replied firmly. The room fell silent, and Thryan tilted his head with a bird-like precision. You wish to prove yourself, human? Very well. Jameson's pulse quickened, but he kept his face impassive. He knew there was always a twist. You will join Task Force Delta, Thryan continued, an elite unit assigned to recon the Zorak forward positions on Tethys 4, a moon critical to their supply chain. It is a mission fraught with peril. Few have survived. None have returned. A snide chuckle came from the Vroth delegate. None will return, he corrected, his voice like gravel. Thryan's exoskeleton trembled slightly, but she ignored the interruption. Your survival will demonstrate humanity's value to this union. Fail, and Earth will not receive further resources or representation. Are these terms acceptable? Without hesitation, Jameson replied, yes. A flicker of surprise passed across Thryan's features, but it was quickly suppressed. It is settled. The assembly adjourned, and the delegates began filing out, their whispers and murmurs rising like the rustling of dry leaves. Jameson stood motionless, feeling the weight of their scorn, the silent certainty that he would fail. Behind him, the door slid open, and a group of aliens entered, each wearing the insignia of Task Force Delta. The first to approach was a towering, obsidian-skinned humanoid, his voice deep and commanding. So, this is the human they've assigned us, he said. Name's Varn. I lead Delta, and I don't have time to hold your hand. I don't need a hand to hold, Jameson replied evenly. A smaller, translucent alien with 4 arms and a jelly-like body let out a dismissive snort. Bold for someone with half an arm and half a brain. The group moved out, with Varn remaining silent, his silver eyes fixed on Jameson for a long moment before he motioned for his team to follow him. We leave in an hour, Varn announced. Try not to slow us down, human. Jameson watched them go, his jaw clenched. He wasn't here to win their approval. He was here to show them what a human was capable of. An hour later, he was strapped into the jump seat of a Union dropship, surrounded by his new squad. The air was thick with tension as the ship rocked in the descent. Varn broke the silence. The Zuraks are unlike any enemy you've faced before. They're fast, intelligent, and they don't take prisoners. If you're lucky, you'll die quickly. If not... He let the words hang ominously. Jameson met Varn's gaze. Sounds like a challenge. The translucent alien from earlier, who had mocked him, snickered. You have no idea what you're walking into, human. But don't worry, we'll make sure your death is memorable. Jameson leaned back, his prosthetic resting on his thigh. Appreciate the concern. Just make sure you don't trip over yourselves trying to keep up. The drop ship shuddered as it entered the atmosphere of Tentis 4, the turbulence shaking them in their seats. Outside, the barren, red landscape stretched endlessly. Jagged cliffs and swirling dust storms painted a picture of desolation. As the ship descended, Jameson's focus sharpened. He wasn't here for approval or to prove Earth's worth. He was here to win, and he would do whatever it took. The ship's doors opened with a hiss, and the squad poured out into the hostile terrain. Welcome to hell, human, the jelly-like alien sneered. Let's see how long you last. Jameson didn't respond. He simply tightened his grip on his rifle and moved forward, ready for whatever came next.